Oh my goodness. I just pulled out the pump for this 2004 S55, the fuel pump that is. I have a new fuel pump to install, but guess what I just found out? Look at the fuel. This is the input of the pump. Look at that. That's directly from the tank. You see that? And you wonder why these pumps fail. That's why they say, don't let your gas tank run all the way low, because whatever gunk is at the bottom of your gas tank, and there will be some junk, a buildup of just crud and stuff that builds up over time. All the nasty stuff that's in that gas that you put into your car, into your tank, there is stuff, right? And the filter is supposed to catch it all so that it doesn't damage the pump, so that it doesn't reach the front, the fuel lines in the front that feeds your fuel injectors, that feeds your motors. To prevent that type of damage, your filter is supposed to catch all that. But look what reached the pump. This is crazy. This is disgusting. Now, I'm not sure. Okay, so maybe to the pump and then to the filter, but regardless, your system should catch all this before it reaches the front fuel injectors. And it did. It caught it. But it damaged the pump. This is disgusting. I've never seen this before. Yep, guys. Definitely consider your fuel pump when your car doesn't start. In this case, I don't know how long this car's been sitting, but long enough that all that settlement in the trunk, I mean in the tank, the fuel tank, the pump can't do anything with this stuff. It can't do anything. Look at that. Disgusting. So let's finish the rest of this fuel pump and filter removal, and maybe I should flush the tank. What do you guys think? Should I flush the tank? Golly, this is crazy. All right, so the filter is clean. That's good, clean fuel coming out of here. But yeah, so the filter is right before it hits the fuel lines, right, to the front of the engine. So the filter did what it's supposed to do, but the pump itself is so clogged up that it can't push clean gas to the front of the car. So whatever was in here was just like residual leftover. So there was no pressure. It couldn't pressurize and push this to the front. Let's see here. So this backside is what connects to the pump. This is the input, and it flows this way. You can look at the arrow, and it flows to the front of the car. All right, so the filter is probably doing what it's supposed to do, but before it even got to the filter, I mean, it was clogged up on the input side of the pump. That's crazy. So if you guys are ever wondering why your pump goes out, sometimes it's because you let your tank go too low. It sat too long, and the stuff just gummed up, you know? And so your pump is now, it's working too hard to try to push good gas, you know, through your system. It can't. It's clogged up. Okay, so new filter. This also has an arrow pointing to the direction, the flow. Make sure it's in harmony with this one. Same flow pattern. Connect this hose. This is from the pump. Remember that. This is from the pump. Connect that to the input for this. And the flow, or the output, in this direction will be to the fuel injectors, to the front of the car. All right, so there you go. Real easy to do. All right, guys, it's starting. Yep. I had to prime it by turning the ignition a few times without starting it. You heard the pump activating. Well, you didn't hear it, but I heard it. The pump activated. You could hear the shh, shh, shh. So it ran enough. It had to pressurize the system. Make sure the fuel got to the front, to the fuel injectors, and it started, guys. Now, this car starts. It runs. And of course, you have the ABC light on. But it's running, guys. It's running. So, how do I clear the ABC light? Well, it says that the car is too low right now. How do I raise the car? Like that. Just like that. And the car rises. Red light is out. Now I can see what's really going on. SRS light, all right. I already looked that up. That's related to the passenger seat, the seat sensor. Pre-safe and active. I don't even know what that means. Pre-safe and active. All right, so the car runs, guys. That's the point. It runs. It runs. For now. All right, car runs. That belt might be making a little noise. I don't know, just a little bit of a tick going on there. Let's see. Now, the car hasn't started in maybe a year or so. Get a little bit of noise in there. That's expected. It could be the belt, it could be the pulley. It could be the tensioner pulley, who knows? But that's expected. The car hasn't ran for quite a while. But it's running now, baby. It's running now. And the ABC system works. It lifted it up. There's a little tick. So it's going to need some fresh fuel. I mean, heck, it might need a tune-up. I don't know. What do you think, Jador? What? The car runs. What do you think? Good. Yep. Quite disgusting, though. If you look at this old fuel pump, where'd it go? Look at this thing. It's just gunked up. And there was more of this stuff in that line, that rubber line. This stuff is disgusting, guys. Look at this. What is that? Ew. Yeah, guys, but it's running, baby. It's running. New fuel pump, new filter. So I got to add some new fuel to it. I got to drive it a little bit and just get this thing, you know, working, man. Get it warmed up. It's working, but I got to operate it, you know. I got to get the juices flowing. Those tires are dry rotted. I know I have to give that some attention. The locking system, the interlocking system still is not working. The PSC pump, I got to go through that and see if I can figure that out specifically and see if I need to replace that pump. Or if it's something that I can fix myself, the original pump. But definitely, guys, I'm happy about this. The car starts. That's progress, baby. It's progress. All right, guys, let's take a look at this 2004 S55. And let's just see what happens when I put this key in the ignition. Let's see how far I've gone with this car. Now, if you remember my previous videos, you already can see that the suspension is now operational. It's now sitting up and not low to the ground. Well, let's see what happens when I put this key in the ignition now. Look at that, baby. It starts. I have a series of different faults that show up, such as light bulbs being out and the SRS light issue, and that's related to the seat sensor for the seat belt or for the SRS system. Well, let's just take a look at some of these issues. Once the service B goes away, give me a second. License plate, rear fog lamp, tail light, brake pads, SRS. There we go. That's the one I was referring to. So marker light. Yeah, it's a couple things that it needs. Also, I switched out this radio with one from the junkyard. Because the other one had pixels that were missing in the screen. So everything is operational, but now I have to fine tune and get this thing just right. All right, so it's happening, it's working. Okay, so if we take an honest external look at this car, it doesn't look that bad. I mean, there's a few obvious things that I can see that it needs attention given to, such as the tires. Tires are dry rotted and low tire pressure. The front bumper, the missing cap for the toe, the toe ring in the front, so that's missing. Again, the front tires, low tire pressure. The paint doesn't look bad at all. Doesn't look bad at all. There might be a few, well, like that, the flaw right there. I think there's a little ding, maybe right here. See it at a certain angle. I guess you can see a little indentation, but nothing major. There's nothing majorly wrong with the exterior. That front bumper is probably the worst thing, so that definitely has to be repaired. I mean, it's pretty banged up. The tape doesn't help at all. But you can see the split right there. That's why they have the tape right there. So, and then there's a crack right here. But that's all repairable. Let me see. Oh, probably the biggest, most expensive thing is this crack in the windshield. Started off. There's a little ding right there. It looks like it's spread. So that's pretty bad. I think that's about it, really. So the interlocking system has to be repaired. I believe it's that PSC pump. Let me see. These tires. Look at these tires. But more cracked than Harlem in the 80s, boy. Look at that. So when driving, it pulls. If you look at these warning lights, let's take a look here, see what it says. I want to go through the menus, but these right here don't work. So I got to figure that part out. None of these work. This is all dead. But if you go through the menus, you can see some of the issues, some of the obvious issues. But you have an SRS light that's related to the seat. You have a couple of exterior lights that are out. Marker light, tail light. Let me see, what else? I don't know about the fog lights, but let me see. All right, so the fog lights might work. Let's just take a look. I know this marker light is out. Fog lights. Hey, where are the fog lights? I could have swore the AMG has fog lights. Dang. I have to look into that. The tail lights. Let's see, this light, and then this light is out. Let's check out the turn signals. You got this right here, but I have a new antenna cover for that. All right, so that's good. Now let's go to the right. All right, so far so good with the turn signals. All right, so that's good. That's good. So that's not major. There's something that it says about the pre-save being offline. Some of them front fog lights, that's crazy. It doesn't even say that they're missing though. When I lit it up, it should pop up there saying that it's not present. And I don't feel any air coming up out this mud. Let me see. The fan should be blowing. So the blower motor might be out. Right? That's a common issue, unfortunately. These years of the Mercedes is the blower motor can't go out. It's crazy. Nothing. All right, so bloater motor might be out. I don't know if the AC or the heat works, but likely that's the problem there. I've had to change that out before on other cars. Let's see. With it being, the brakes, right? So the brake pads are low. That's another thing that comes up. And it's obvious because I feel like I have to press on the brakes a little bit harder than I should. It pulls to the right because the tires are flat. So I'll probably put some air in the tires. Probably. I mean, I will put some air in the tires. Hopefully they don't bust. It's totally unsafe to be driving on flat tires like this. You'll definitely damage the sidewalls if they're not damaged already. So I don't recommend this at all. Yeah, brakes are very soft. It's got good push though. It is an AMG. This motor definitely breathes. Spins them cheap tires very easily. It ain't nothing to spin tires with AMG. Oh yeah, and then that the fuel gauge, the gas gauge doesn't work. I just put 12 gallons of premium fuel in here, and that gas gauge hasn't moved a bit. It was already right there when I put gas in it, and it's still right there. I was just thinking about what that fuel pump looked like, how gummed up it was. Likely in that fuel tank, that fuel pump is probably gummed up too. Not the fuel pump, but the mechanism that has the sensor attached to it is probably gummed up. I'll take a look at that too. For the time being, let me put some air in this mud, in the tires. I think my hose can reach all the way down here. All right, guys, so here we go. The 2004 S55 is up and running. The vehicle is in my name. It came from Missouri. The previous owner and I worked out a good deal where I bought it for $4,000, and I had to pay to get it shipped here to Cincinnati, Ohio. Now, it did cost about $1,000 to tow it. It was a little bit more than what I wanted to spend for a tow, but it is what it is. I got it towed here, so I have about $5,000 in it. Now, the car, I think it's probably time for me to honestly give an honest opinion about the condition of the vehicle, what I expected, what I received, how the car drives, what I think about the S55. Now, those who understand the W220 S55 2004, we know that this is a compressor motor. This is a supercharged V8, 5.4 liter V8 or 5.5 liter V8, however you want to define it. But regardless, it's a very powerful and reliable motor. And oftentimes when you find these vehicles for cheap, the motor is always in great shape for the most part. Usually it's the body and the electronics that need attention, and the suspension, of course, because the AMGs came with ABC, active body control. Now, as of right now, I will say that the active body control suspension is operable, right? It operates properly for the most part. It's not 100%, but it does work and function the way it's supposed to for the most part. And the reason why I say it works, it is functional, but not 100%, is because when I get in it, after I start it, I feel the right rear pop up a little bit. Also, I see when I park the car, the driver's side is a little lower sometimes than the passenger side. So it does some weird things. But that's typically what you get with ABC. When I hit the button, it does raise up, it does lower, but it just does some awkward things. And I have to associate that too with the car sitting as long as it has. The ABC has not been operational in a long time. So surely it probably needs some refreshing or reconditioning. Now, you could do a rodeo. I'm not getting any ABC warning lights. So a rodeo, some fresh fluid will probably help for those who want to keep ABC. Now, for me, if I were to make this a personal vehicle that I were to keep forever, I would personally decide to get rid of ABC, because active body control suspension is great when it works, sucks when it doesn't. So I would get rid of that, and I would put yellow speed coilovers, adjustable coilovers. I would install those onto it. I would remove the ABC struts, all the lines, the valve blocks, the ABC pump, and I would simplify the system with yellow speed racing adjustable coilovers. That's just what I do. With my other cars, the SLs, I do Silvers Neomax. So depending on the make and model of the Mercedes, depending on the year, make and model, whatever, determines which coilovers I go with. Yellow speed racing has proven to be a very reliable coilover system. Now, the driving condition of this car, it needs to be driven. I don't know how long this thing is sat, but it's been sitting for a long time, and it's obvious. I had to get it started by replacing the fuse number 78, 7.5 amp fuse on the passenger side of the dashboard. That was blown, and that was preventing the key from reading. And so it wasn't the EIS, the electronic ignition switch. It was not the key. It did not need key programming. Everything worked once I replaced that fuse. That fuse is associated with this security alarm horn system. It's like an isolated system. A component that hides right inside that wheel well. It has its own battery, but it's still hooked up to the system. So it is like the horn, and so that you know if you try to bypass the security alarm by disabling the battery of the vehicle, it still operates. That's why it's designed that way. But when that internal, I think it's a lithium ion battery, when that battery dies, it has taken 20 years for that battery to die. When it dies, it causes some issues with that fuse. It will blow, or it will cut off communication with your key in the ignition system. So that was the issue there. So I pulled that little security alarm out of the car, reconnected that, put a new fuse in there, and it's good to go. So I disconnected that, inserted a new fuse, and so now it starts. But what was preventing it also from starting, besides that, was a new fuel, a fuel pump. I had to replace the fuel pump, located on the driver's side, right up under here in front of the rear wheel. That fuel pump was done. I mean, it was caked up with just gunk. And when you try to start the car, when you turn the key, it would hum real quick, and it would get warm because it was blocked, right? So it was not able to push fuel to the front. Now, even when I disconnected that fuel pump and installed a new one, and I did a filter too, the pump and the filter. And so when I did that, you still had a lot of gunk in that line that feeds into the fuel pump. And so I had to clean that line out as much as possible. Now, also, you can add some fuel to the tank, which is smart to do, and add some fuel injector cleaner. So stuff that's going to break down those composites and all that settlement and that nasty stuff that's in gas. All right, so you have to really drive the car and really cycle that fuel and push that stuff through. Allow that fuel injector to do what fuel injector cleaner does. So I still have some other issues, though. I did switch out the radio because the existing radio has some bad pixels and it looked crazy. I'm still getting the SRS light. Also, this right here, this pre-save inactive. Now, that's associated with your memory, programming the vehicle to the driver's specifics, I guess, and preferences. But that's also maybe associated with this. You see, they call that the clock. What is this thing called? I can't think of it right now. But none of these remotes work. None of these things work. All right. Let me see here. Yeah, none of this stuff works. Okay, so that's an issue. So I'm not able to sort through the menu. I'm not able to go up and down. I'm not able to change the volume. None of this stuff works. And they said that that's associated with inside the steering wheel column. There's this, I forgot what it's called, but the thing that turns and rotates and it has the wires attached to it, it allows it to communicate, and it also allows it to spin, right? So that right there might be the issue why this right here, none of this stuff works. And why I might have that pre-save warning. Another issue is the fuel gauge is not operational. When I turn the car off, it drops all the way down, but it only raises up to there where it's at. So that might be associated with, I think it's up under the driver's, up under the rear seat. That might be associated with the fuel, what's the thing called? It runs from the tank, both openings in the tank, it runs, it's like a gauge of some sort, some type of sensor, fuel level sensor. I think that might be the issue. It could be stuck or gunked up. The fact that this car has been sitting for a long time, it probably is gunked up. And so I probably have to remove that back seat and get access to that and see if I can move that freely, because that probably is the problem. It's probably just stuck, right? So I don't know how much gas is in here. I put 12 gallons in here just to make sure. The SRS light, I did run a scanner on here. It did show that the passenger seat, the seat sensor, like when a passenger is sitting in the seat, it's like a weight sensor, is faulty, and that's common. I've had that on other S-classes that I've owned. Matter of fact, my G-Wagon has the same issue. The tires are bald. They're ran down and cracked. They had to be replaced. You can see all this rub. That's from it catching this fender while it was getting towed and moved around while it was not operational. Also, there's inner tire wear on all of them except this one. But there's inner tire wear, and that's just from camber. It's down to the threads, so to speak. You have string that's coming out of the tire, so it's really dangerous to be driving this thing around in this condition. Also, it pulls to the right, and that might be associated with uneven tire wear, so that all has to be addressed. All these tires have to be replaced. You see how ate up these tires are, right? Yeah, these tires are all jacked up, so they're all dry rotted and worn out. So I got to replace those too. There's a giant crack right here in the windshield. All right, big old crack. So none of these things were disclosed to me. I was told that the vehicle was in great shape and meticulously cared for, which was a lie, unfortunately. You see the tape all right here because the front bumper's all jacked up. This little cover right here is expensive to replace just because they're hard to get access to. So this thing needs some work. Headlights, of course, are kind of foggy and yellow as expected with these headlights. That's just what they do. You got to keep them polished. The mileage is not what I was told the vehicle was. My interest in the vehicle was increased when I was told that the mileage was 99,000. But take a look. It's not. That's a tripometer. The actual mileage is 144,717. So I was lied to about the mileage. So that's disappointing as well. The climate control does not work. And when I say that, the blower motor is not operational. I've had this issue before on these cars where you can do all this stuff right here, but it doesn't matter because there's nothing blowing out. So the blower motor surely is the issue, more than likely. What else? I had to add some oil. It showed that it was a quart low. I know these motors with higher miles are notorious for burning oil. That's true. That's all the Mercedes V8s. After a while, they do burn oil, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, it just is what it is, you know. But this motor is stupid powerful. It spins the back tires instantly on takeoff, which is dangerous right now because I don't have much tread on those tires. What else is going on? Oh yeah, the PSC pump. So for the interlocks, like when I hit the lock buttons, nothing works. Like these don't go up or down. The trunk won't open. This lever is still stuck out because the PSC pump won't pull that back in. Also, I don't know what the freak this person was thinking with the S550. He said that the garage, I guess the shop that did some work back here, there was a scratch. They probably did some paint correction. They put the wrong emblems back on. So this is a S55, S55, not a S550. So that was goofy. So there's a couple things that need to be addressed, man. It needs some brake pads. The front passenger side brake pad is low. It's causing that brake fault. The brake sensor, the pad sensor, whatever. So that's an issue. Probably need to do brake pads all the way around, but it's obvious that this is the one that was probably sticking because you have a whole lot of brake dust just baked on, you know? So that's an issue. it just really needs some love, guys. And, you know, I wanted one of these S55s, and I thought I got a great deal, and I thought it was in better condition, but, you know, I got to make a decision. Am I going to keep it and get it up to par like how I want it to be, or will I sell it for cheap? I don't know. Like I said, I'm $5,000 in it plus tax and title. You know, I don't know. Plus the repairs. I mean, the money that I put into it to fix it, to get it to this point, I still got to put some more money in it to get it to where it should be. And so we'll just see. I don't know. Just keep watching my videos and my content, and we will see what I decide to do. All right, guys? It is a nice car. It does drive very fast. It is a V8 compressor. It is an AMG. So, what am I going to do with it? We'll see. Just keep watching my videos and my content, and let's see how this vehicle develops amongst my fleet of vehicles, what I decide to do with it. It's a very nice car, like I said. It just needs that extra love and attention. Am I the one to give it to it? Probably so. Is it worth keeping? It definitely is worth keeping. Did I get the best deal? Not the best deal that I really wanted. It wasn't a steal, it was a deal. The value on these cars run anywhere between $7,500 to $12,500, maybe $13,000, depending on the miles. This, you know, if the miles are real low, they can go up a little bit higher, maybe 15, 16, 17,000, maybe 18,000, I don't know. But they are very nice cars, though, and this is a beautiful body style that never goes out of style. It's timeless. It's a classic. So we'll see what I decide to do with it, man. Continue to like, share, subscribe. This is Gold Element Autoworks, Brandon Green, the owner. Check me out. Go to my website, www.goldelemenautoworks.com. You can go to my Facebook at Gold Element Autoworks and follow me there. Like, share, subscribe. Go to my Instagram at Wide Body CL55. Always put videos and content and information out there, how to do this, how to do that, results of work that I've done. Continue to follow me and share my information. And if there's anything I can do to help you out, reach out to me. I do respond to my text messages, phone calls, emails. I'm really a likable guy. Get to know me. Appreciate it, guys. Love you. Take care.